Hello, and you're listening to FPcast, the official podcast for Fruitless Pursuits, where we bullshit about the week in pop culture. I'm Luke.
And I'm Jacinta.
And this week we're talking about...
Movies, television, collectibles, video games, comics, books, board games, and more.
Civility, my lord.
I don't even want to add anything to that, of course.
It's just everything, isn't it?
You know, when we've just had a week which has been all about Civil War and Downton Abbey, why wasn't that war more civil? Why didn't Dan Stevens come bursting in the window?
I say, chaps, let's all just sit down for a cup of tea.
As Captain Britain and saying, now, hello, boys.
This isn't very jolly, is it?
I don't hardly think it's appropriate that we come to fisticuffs over such small beer.
Oh, God. You've had to drag me out of the cinema piece by piece.
Carson, go and get everybody a spot of tea.
Ring the gong for dinner and bring everybody together.
And let's discuss this in a civilized matter. No point having an uncivil war among friends.
And then it's a 1-hour movie and everybody goes home unhappy. Aww.
I hardly think it's appropriate, though, that Black Panther and...
and this Falcon chap...
sit up in the drawing room. Perhaps we can get them a tray sent up to their rooms in the servant quarters. That's where it all falls apart.
Oh, yeah, and they wouldn't like Bucky because he's Russian either. Not a huge fan of the Russians.
No. Or probably Natasha along those lines as well.
Well, she's a woman and she's Russian. Jesus.
Oh, I say, Bucky, is it? It looks like you were trying on one of the young lady's wigs. I think I'll stick to James, if you don't mind. There we go.
Oh, dear.
Well,
yeah.
There's a, sounds like a horrible Saturday Night Live sketch.
Yeah, I think even they wouldn't stoop quite that low.
Stoop that low. Look, internet culture, it's all about mashups. I mean, get on the blower to T-Fury and say, where's my Downton Abbey Civil War mashup t-shirt?
Yep.
I want it now. Pick a side, upstairs, downstairs. Let's go.
And while we're on the phone to them, let's get on to pop vinyl. Where's my Downton Abbey pop vinyls?
Yeah, I would like one of those. I would like a Mary. I'd like a Mary with her sophisticated haircut.
Oh, yes, the new haircut. Yes, very, very fancy. I was watching it yesterday and I was going to take a picture of something that she was wearing to send it to you and go, I very much approve of this, but I was taking shitty photos and I didn't end up doing it.
No.
What a nice story.
You know, would made that story better? Anything. So, just something that happened in it.
Yeah.
Okay, so yes, we're going to talk about Civil War today. We're going to give our spoiler-free review, of course, because although everybody that we know here in the luckiest country in the world have seen it already, some have seen it multiple times, we've got to remember that... a Captain America movie goes to America last, so they haven't seen it yet. And
how shameful.
We don't want to spoil anything for our American friends who are pretty pent up waiting to see this thing for themselves. But we will give our general impressions, and then we'll probably do a spoiler cast for our Patreon listeners somewhere down the track. And we're going to talk some news. We're going to... You've been playing the Pokemon Go beta. We're going to talk a bit about that. And then, of course, Game of Thrones also came back. So we'll finish the episode with some spoiler-filled Fuck Yeah Game of Thrones.
Oh, yeah.
Very popular segment for us coming back. And we might even finish that off with some Fuck Yeah Downton Abbey, because I have finished the series.
I'm on to the first episode of the 6th season, so I'm nearly there.
I'd like to have a spoiler talk with you about it, so we'll do that after Game of Thrones. That's basically, the chairs have already been put on top of the tables. We're sweeping up the podcast, but if anyone wants to stick around for that, a nice, intimate little chat about that, get it out of our system, then that's available as well. Holy crap, what a lot of stuff. I guess we better dive straight into it.
Yeah, okay. Well, what is our first port of call?
News.
Oh,
Did you hear this thing about Flash and now possibly Aquaman as well having a bit of trouble in the wake of Superman v Batman?
I don't Aquaman. He's James Wan.
Yeah, well, Flash was actually the first one. That, I think, is official that the director has left Flash. Said, nope, I don't want to do this anymore. And now, they're talking about James Wan maybe bailing from Aquaman.
Interesting.
So, a lot of theories, a lot of speculation as to what all that might mean. Batman Superman has made about 900 million worldwide so far, which seems like a lot, but it was a very expensive movie to make, and I think the studio really expected a lot from it. Plus, if word of mouth wasn't great, which we know it wasn't, that might make people more reluctant to go and see future things. So there's a bit of that, and I imagine that the directors don't want to be attached, like spend a year, 2 years of their lives making something which
no one's
the fans are predisposed to hating regardless of what it is. So I think that's troubling. I also think that perhaps, they're aware of the tone of the movies they're about to make, what these movies are, what the tone is going to be, and they're realizing that that's maybe swimming upstream a bit compared to what people are responding to lately. Now, I bring all this up because, look, I feel like we've been put in the camp of Superman, Batman lovers. And
we're definitely not haters.
We're not haters. We're
like,
defenders
we're like on the fence.
I wanted everybody to just be like... I don't even want to dredge this up much, but I'm just saying people keep acting like it's a 1-star movie. I think objectively it's kind of more like a 2.5, 3-star movie.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think for me personally, just because I love big genre movies and everything, that it's like entertainment value-wise, it's like a 4 for me. However, I mean, Civil War's just come out. I think Civil War's an infinitely better movie.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, no one's going to deny that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, look, it's sort of trouble, but we've talked that to death. I guess I put this in here for is because I feel like, and I'm not putting any judgment on this either way, there seems to be a formula, a very simple formula for what people are looking for in these movies these days. If we just look at the results and the response, I think what Marvel has figured out is that at the moment people want bright comic booky characters in grim situations. So the characters are light and bright and comic booky and are fun, but the situations they're in have stakes. They're like sort of debates and high stakes and characters going through the ringer. Whereas DC seems to have done the opposite and gone, we're going to put these really grim, grounded characters in broad comic booky situations. And that just doesn't seem to work. That idea of you have this really grounded Batman and Superman, and then you put in that very comic booky doomsday kind of Lex Luthor plot. And it's very hard to attach. Yeah,
I think obviously it's a little bit different in that we have much more of a relationship with these Marvel characters. Like, this has been going on since, 2008, 6?
Yeah.
Something like that. And, the original, say, First Avenger, Captain America, he wasn't exactly a bright character in grimdark situation. He was a fairly kind of normal character I
still think they committed, though, to that idea of... Like, it's true to the comic book, and I feel like he's still a bright character. Like, there's humour in that series. They did put him in the costume, and they played around with, like, the Star-Spangled Man and everything, but then the stakes become... you still have MacGuffins, you still have comic booky villains and things, but the heart of it is always some sort of, it's about Peggy and Steve or that sort of transition. And I feel like, Suicide Squad seems to be the film for DC that is tracking the best, and that has those bright comic booky characters in the grim situation. And I'm not saying that the whole thing's grim or that these bright characters are bright and happy all the time. They go through all the emotional ringer, but at their core, they're the comic book characters that are put into real-world situations as opposed to the reverse, where they're like real-world people put into comic book situations. It's a lot harder, I think, for people to latch onto that. I mean, I think these things sort of ebb and flow a lot Like, I think Nolan was probably one of the first people to go, we're going to take these comic book characters and we're going to put them into these real world situations. And I think that was the strength of his movie. And he dialed back the comic book characters to quite a degree. But then even Deadpool has this sort of weird, serious vengeance thing underneath, and a sort of emotional pull with the love story and stuff that almost feels incongruous with the rest of it.
Yeah.
So, I think, you see when you look at any era of superhero movies, whether it's the 80s, 90s, whatever, there's always some sort of dominant thing that seems to be working. And I think Marvel have really got that at the moment. You only have to see their treatment of Spider-Man, for example, compared to Sony's treatment of Spider-Man, and how angsty their Spider-Man was, and how grim and serious. And really, is that what you want from a Spider-Man movie? Wouldn't you, if you want like adult drama, wouldn't you go and see, like, there's plenty of adult drama films out there.
Yeah.
If you want that, like, fun of Spider-Man that drew you as a kid to that character in the first place, Marvel's suddenly delivering that, whereas Sony tried to layer on so much adult human baggage. And it's, where's the escape?
Well, it's to make people think that Spider-Man is serious, Luke.
It goes back to that.
He's for adults, and people should take Spider-Man very seriously.
It goes back to that story that's been told billions of times on these podcasts about that Jess McLeod told about that little kid in watching Spider-Man 3 when he slaps Mary Jane. And she goes, "Who are you?" And the kid goes, "He's Spider-Man." And you think, that kid does not care about this angst and this and that. He's there to see Spider-Man swinging around and beating the bad guys and making jokes. And he doesn't care about emo Peter Parker and Mary Jane.
No one cares about
angst.
emo Peter Parker.
It's like, just give this kid his Spider-Man. Yeah. And that's what Marvel's done. Excellent. Talking about sort of Marvel and casting and things, there's this sort of, we don't know if it's an Easter egg or if there's more to it than that, but this idea of Nathan Fillion, who the fans think is perfect for every role ever mentioned, as Wonder Man in Guardians of the Galaxy. And this has come out because there are a lot of posters for fake movies that have shown up in Guardians of the Galaxy 2, which star an actor played by Nathan Fillion, and it's, I can't remember the Wonder Man's identity, Simon West, something like that. Anyway, he's playing that character. Of course, the internet said, yes, it's perfect. What perfect casting. And I guess, he can play that sort of arrogant, ego-y...
Rakish rogue
thing, but he's certainly not physically perfect for Wonder Man, who is a incredibly muscular cut.
Yeah, but, Chris Pratt did it.
That's true. You better get onto it, though. You better lay off those pies, Nathan Fillion, because we saw you last year and you're built like I am at the moment.
Yes, he, I'm sure he's probably going to have a whole lot of spare time soon, because I can't imagine Castle's going to limp on much longer now that they've booted, the other lead in the fucking show, so... I'm sure he'll have heaps of time to be working out and sweating it out in the gym.
What I think's interesting is I saw a sort of pictorial thing of the first 30 issues of the Avengers. And it showed you all the characters that turned up and all the villains they faced off against, and when each character was introduced, like when Captain America joins in issue 4, and when the Wasp and everybody become really involved, and Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch, Hawkeye, when all these characters, they face off against Loki and Ultron, and basically you read this and you go, all of these characters in these first 30 issues are being mined by the cinematic universe. It's following the template.
Yeah.
And one of the missing characters is Wonder Man. Wonder Man was really big in Avengers back in the day, and he just doesn't appear in any of the movies, so it kind of makes sense. We know James Gunn is good friends with Fillion.
Yeah. I mean, unless they have like a movieverse within a movieverse, and they have like fake movie posters, fake trailers, that sort of thing, and whether he actually features in the film.
Yeah, well, I think that's obviously the biggest question, because, there were heaps of Easter eggs in Guardians of the Galaxy. There's a skeleton at the beginning that's like a Beta Ray Bill race, and all the way to sort of Howard the Duck, or, Cosmo the dog in the background and stuff. there's all those kinds of things. So it doesn't mean that the character's going to feature. We've had confirmation that Tony Stark will be in Spider-Man. Once you've seen Civil War, that seems like a very obvious thing. But I'm glad.
Yeah, absolutely. They're going to need to... I mean, people are going to be excited about a Spider-Man movie anyway, but I think they do still need that tie into the rest of the team. They can't just throw him out on his own and expect him to carry the entire thing by himself.
And I think that relationship is actually a really excellent thing for the character. And sort of being able to hitch to Stark's resources makes so much more sense for what he's capable of doing.
Yeah.
And his look and everything.
And just a little bit more Marvel news. Did you hear that they've greenlit a Punisher show?
Oh, it's for Netflix, yeah.
Yeah, so he's getting his own show, which will be interesting, I think. Obviously, he won't be in Daredevil much anymore if they're giving him his own show, which is a shame because he was pretty much the best thing about Season 2 of Daredevil.
But you don't want him and Daredevil to be locked in eternal debate. I'm kind of glad that he'll be away from that debate about killing people.
Oh, yeah, but I hope they have something else interesting to bring in for Daredevil Season 3, because if you take Punisher out of Season 2, there's not much there.
Bullseye.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Is it... Try to remember if Elektra's dead or not. No.
If she is, she'll be back. That's the whole story.
Oh, that's, of course, that's the thing with
Elektra
yeah, she is coming back.
Dies in the comics and is resurrected, and
That's
that happens in the
right.
movies as well.
Yeah, you do see it sort of happen at the end of the series. So, oh, yay, Elektra's back. Yay.
Yeah. So
that'll be cool. I'm looking forward to that.
And did you hear that in Rogue One, Mads Mikkelsen, who does not appear in the trailer, gave away a bit of a tidbit about who he plays?
Oh, I haven't read the article. I've seen some headlines, but I haven't read.
It just basically said that he's Felicity Jones's dad.
Oh, okay.
So...
Yeah, right.
You go, okay. But then it got me thinking. Here's some speculation, and I don't know anything here. My initial reaction is, oh, he's playing the dad? Okay, I guess he wants to mix it up a bit. Disney's already got him being a villain in Doctor Strange. Yeah. But you think, oh, wouldn't he have been a great Imperial? Like, isn't that what you think of when you think Mads Mikkelsen? And then I go...
He probably is.
Yeah. Well, then I go, like, Ben Mendelsohn is probably the guy that is more playing that kind of role. But then you think...
There's no reason why he couldn't be one.
Yeah, why are they sending Felicity Jones in to the Death Star unless she's got, like, some sort of link? Why is she perfect to go in there? This, like, person that street fights and stuff like that. But if her dad is a way in, if he's got some cachet on the Death Star and she can get in via him, that makes a lot of sense that she would be chosen for that mission. Plus, evil parents... It's kind of a
bit of a theme
in the Star Wars universe. So I still think we might see him in some sort of Imperial uniform. I want to see him be... This is just off the top of my head, because I think, any sort of Admiral or anything like that's all fine, but Mendelssohn's got that covered by the looks of it. I want to know more about Palpatine's advisors. The ones that are right there with him, the purple-clad guys with the funny hats. You only see them briefly in Return of the Jedi, but they don't have any dialogue or anything. But they're, like, really high-ranking people in the Empire. What if he was something like that? Look.
nice purple hat. Well, we'll see.
I want to see him in a big, pointy, purple Pope hat, essentially.
I'm sure that's just what he's always fucking dreamed of.
Yeah, go Mads. So, Mads or Dads? I guess we'll find out this December. Whether he's a mad dad or a sad dad or a bad dad or a rad dad.
He might be a rad dad.
He might be a nad dad. Like just sitting on the couch watching TV, watching the space footy, wearing a pair of space stubbies with one space ball, just like accidentally hanging out. Nad dad.
At it again.
And last bit of news... We talked about Daisy Ridley being the front runner for Tomb Raider. Internet made us a liar once again. Daisy instead is going to be doing a World War II drama called The Lost Wife. And Alicia Vikander is going to raid tombs.
Yeah, I like that.
I just think it's smart because, well, one, she's Australian, not British, but there you go, we're all the same apparently.
We are. Well, I mean, we're their convicts, so we're basically the same thing.
True.
Yeah.
I think that every actor who is serious about acting at the moment, and no, I shouldn't say serious about acting, serious about making a living from acting.
Yes.
Like being in the public eye, and because you can be serious about acting and go and work on the stage and have a wonderful acting career. But in terms of movies, I think it's very smart to hitch yourself to a franchise.
Oh, absolutely.
While doing all the other things that you want to do in the off time. Ridley's got her franchise. She's got very secure in being that character. I don't know if she needs another one. There's not a lot of people that have had two going. The only people I can really think of off the top of my head, and I'm sure there's billions, so jump to it if anybody knows. But like
Harrison Ford, of
course, being the biggest example with Han Solo and Indiana Jones.
Yeah. And
I think maybe Ian McKellen being Gandalf and Magneto.
Oh, yeah.
Is probably another one. But otherwise, it doesn't happen that often. So I think Daisy's going to get all the exposure and merchandise and opportunities from Star Wars, do that, and then go and do some drama. Show that you can do other things so you don't just get typecast as a throwaway sort of thing. And Vikander is the opposite. She's been doing all the indie stuff. She's had Oscar nominations. She's had done all the art movies. So why not hitch yourself to a big franchise movie? And I think we're really seeing that with there were all these talks a few years ago about Evans and Downey Jr. leaving their Avengers characters behind, and now they seem to be more attached to them than ever. And I think both of them have had the opportunities. People have been willing to work their schedules around those movies, and they have been in comedies and dramas and done all these other things, whether it's Downey doing The Judge or doing Zach Galifianakis movies or doing whatever. None of them have really hit with the same.
Yeah, well, I mean, Chris Evans cut his teeth doing kind of teen/20s romantic comedy kind of things, and he's a bit past that. And so that's why he's doing directing and stuff now, to kind of give himself something to do after Captain America. But I think he's starting to realise that Captain America's a pretty fucking good meal ticket, and you want to hang on to that as long as you can.
And he's done brilliant films like Snowpiercer, but general public don't really know what Snowpiercer is. So I think do as many of those films that you can. I want to see him do all these different things, but if you can then go back to your tentpole for half the year or 3 months of the year or whatever, it keeps you going. So I just feel like that's the reality in sort of industry, which now churns out like 50 genre movies every year, like, big superhero or comic-based or sci-fi or fantasy films.
I wonder if it'll change what Marvel's future plans are, though, because I've heard, and the rumour has been for a long time, that Sebastian Stan does have a really long movie contract with them.
I'd say everybody
perhaps with the the intention of either swapping him or Anthony Mackie over into the Captain America role once Chris Evans does leave. So I don't know, maybe they were planning on doing that a bit sooner if they, he'd been talking about wanting to leave, and now they're going to have to push it out further.
I don't think there's a franchise now that doesn't, it used to be like 2 movies or 3 movie contracts. I think now they are like 9 movie contracts. I think that's why when you hear about people that have been courted for these things and then turn them down, like Joaquin for Doctor Strange, it's usually because of how draconian those contracts are, that they're like, we want you for 10, 15 years, essentially. So I think that's just sort of smart. I mean, we'll talk about that with Downton Abbey, what happens when you
fuck up your contract
people for less episodes than you perhaps can conceivably make. So I don't know. I mean, the universe is expanding so quickly. I don't mean our universe that we live in. I mean the Marvel cinematic universe.
Well, I mean, we don't know. Ours might be, yeah.
But I think that there are just so many options now, so many characters. And Captain America is an easy one, as you said, to replace, because there are a few people in the wings, as it were, waiting to go. I think Iron Man's the trickier one. I mean, anybody can wear an Iron Man suit, but how do you make that transition meaningful?
Yeah.
Like, how do you... Because, I mean, he's got lots of things to pull from. It's absolutely understandable that he could have a son out there that he doesn't know about. That could be a thing.
But if they switched it to Rhodey, like, people aren't going to care about Rhodey as much as they do about Tony.
No, and he doesn't solve the age issue, which is the other big thing.
Yeah.
And... it could be an MIT student, you don't know. But it's like, is it somebody that has the same traits as Tony? Or, what do you do? Anyway.
Iron Spider.
Could be.
With that gross, crazy suit.
Yeah, that is a gross, crazy suit. Just talking about all this stuff today, though it's important. It's not really that important, and it's not particularly. I don't feel particularly funny.
No, it's Sunday morning, and it's just a bit like. Oh, I was up quite late last night watching Downton. Yeah, everything Downton right now. We'll get to Downton at the end, but we'll talk about...
Let's talk about Civil War.
Yeah, there wasn't any trailers this week, I don't think, was there?
Not that I recall.
No, we did see the Doctor Strange trailer in 3D before Civil War, and I've got to say, I liked it more in 3D. All those visuals and stuff did look much cooler.
And the Rogue One as well.
Yeah.
So, Civil War. Go at it. You go.
Okay, so... This, I remember when this was first announced, I was a bit angsty over it because I kind of did like that Civil War comic. And to be honest, this is not very much at all to do with that Civil War comic. We were even right up to the start of the movie, we were talking about, who's going to be pro-registration, who's going to be anti-registration. It's not really about registration at all.
Yeah, okay. Let's just quickly... This isn't a spoiler. This is just about what the issue is. If I was going to boil down the issue to the basic, most spoilerless things, it's like Tony's team are saying we should work with the UN to decide whether or not we do things and whether or not we enter other people's countries.
But basically, they have to give permission for the Avengers to go out and do their job.
And Cap is basically, fuck the UN. If I get a feeling that I want to do something, I should be able to do it and go where I want.
Well, Captain America was perhaps saying that the red tape would prevent them from getting to situations in a timely manner that they would probably need to.
What he's saying is, I'm a young white man, very privileged, and I want to decide what's right and wrong. I don't want these foreign people with their who have might have been in position for longer than I've been alive. Well,
no,
frozen
he's like 100 years old, so probably not
longer than I've been awake.
Okay,
who have been in these jobs and know the climate and have studied everything. I just want my gut feeling of what's right to govern what I'm doing.
Yeah, I feel like Steve's probably seen a lot of shit that would give him a fair reason to have good judgment. See, we had this argument all the way home as well. See, you were still Team Tony and I was still Team Steve.
No, but what I think is interesting is the movie doesn't... Of course it doesn't,
Yeah, there's no winner. Yeah.
No, and it shows you just how easily manipulated people are. Oh, well, I think... we were standing in the line and someone was saying behind us to this old guy, what team you on? And he's like... Cap, Iron Man's a crook. Of course he's not a crook. You watch it, he's not a crook at all. It's so funny that people come up with that. We had in our own... Artemis, I'm looking at you, buddy, doing that whole... when she goes, I can't understand how anyone would be Team Tony. As if it was an immoral thing. It's a totally moral thing. If you look at Black Panther or... War Machine in that, do you think they are being immoral, that they are amoral characters? That
No, God, no.
So it was actually more a complex issue, and it's so interesting that, and you see this in sports, you see it in everything. The minute someone says, "Oh, there are sides," we hate those guys.
Yeah,
we hate the other people.
Yeah,
that's what I love. It's the classic thing in reality TV, and it shows you just how fucking stupid most people are and how easily manipulated they can be when they go. Everyone meets, they all hang out, they're all having drinks, they're all getting to know each other. Where are you from? Oh, that's great, you're so cool. And then they go, "Okay, everybody. First challenge, men versus women." And they're like, "You bitches are going down. We're going to beat you. We hate you." And then, "Oh, the women think they're so good. They're going to..." And it's like, you were all friends. It just took a host of a show who was reading off a script to say, you're versus those people. And look, this goes back... This has a foundation in, real science, psychology, all that stuff. Do you remember the blue-eyed experiment?
No.
I remember seeing it demonstrated on a... there's documentaries and stuff, and I remember seeing it demonstrated on... It might have been Oprah or something ages ago, but this woman basically comes out and says to the audience who's got blue eyes, and they put up their hands, and then they all get collars put on them, and they talk about how... And the woman says, we've done all these studies, people with blue eyes are inferior, they're, and talks about all these horrible traits for them. And then the people... who don't have the blue eyes, and bear in mind, there's people who have blue eyes usually have more power over people that don't in places like America. You know, everyone starts to buy into the fiction very quickly, that people who have been, you know, are outraged, and then they don't like the other people, and the other people start feeling superior. They've done this experiment with kids and everything.
Yeah, right.
And it's just human nature. And the same thing happens with something as silly as this, that you go, oh, these are the sides. And you go, well, those guys are evil. Those guys are wrong. And the movie's not about that at all. The movie's, to its credit, is... And it's still, don't get me wrong, it's not an adult drama. It's still a superhero comic booky movie, but it's far more nuanced than I think even the trailer would suggest.
Yeah, I think a lot of that pick a side thing was...
It's fun. It was promo. And we've had fun with it on the forums.
Yeah, absolutely. Though when we walked into the cinema, there was like an arrow one way for Team Cap and the arrow the other way for Team Iron Man. And I just left you the fuck behind. I didn't even think. I just went, see ya. And I went with my people. And then obviously we just met up in the cinema as we got in there. But yeah.
So, yeah, there's a lot to think about. But the movie... The characters in the movie don't have that sudden blind hatred of... If you've thought, like, this side has this character, like Black Widow, and this side has Hawkeye, and they're friends, so why are they suddenly hating each other?
It's not. They don't.
No.
Yeah.
So everybody is still in character.
And I mean, you can tell that by... There was that little clip that came out where they're kind of punching each other, but they're joking about it while they're punching each other.
Yeah, and... The trailers are manipulative because I know a good friend of the show, Paris, Book Was Better Tomorrow, will be the host, keeps hating that really weird punch you in your perfect teeth, which sounds like a really dumb thing to say if you're angry.
Yeah.
But in the movie, it's
completely different.
But it's a different take. He doesn't say it angrily in the movie. He smiles and laughs at the end.
And it's like a completely different shot as well.
Yeah,
like it's
and
not
they're
even
just joking. It's like they went, now do an angry one for the trailer.
Yeah.
So there's all these moments in the trailer where you think, oh, these are the characters at each other's throats. And there's actually few moments when they are, even Tony and Cap are quite civil to each other for the majority of the film. And when they do clash, there's actually a pretty good reason behind it. It's not about something trivial like the politics.
Yep.
Yeah. They're not punching each other in the head because of a differing in politics. It's always about something more. So I think the movie's very clever in that regard. I think the movie's also great... we should say, look, I loved it. I love the film. If people are wondering what we thought, now we're getting into more specifics. I think it's a fantastic superhero film.
Yeah, I have only seen it the once. You've seen it twice.
Yeah.
I think I'll probably reserve like proper judgment when I see it the second time, because first time was just such a fucking overload. Like there was just so much to kind of take in. And I mean, I loved it, but I think I'll absorb much more my second go.
It held together for me definitely the second time. I think there's those occasional things where, you know, I can imagine people will pick on maybe conveniences and things like that, but you have to do that, like with every movie. If you're going to pack in a lot, the alternate is...
You've got to make shortcuts somewhere.
Yeah, do you want like it to take an hour for them to figure that out, or or do you want to just keep it... I want it to keep moving.
Yep.
And I think it does a very good job. I think it's actually a quite solid movie for how ambitious it is, and I think they've managed to really quite cleverly solve a lot of problems in a really smart economic way in terms of... Because not only do you have 12 superheroes in this thing, we've got Black Panther and Spider-Man, which are completely new to it. And you're able to introduce those people, and it's very satisfying. Like, they're both really great new characters.
Yeah,
like,
they have about, 5-10 minute introductions, and that's all you need.
Yeah.
We don't need a whole origin movie for them. We just go, okay, here's this guy, here's what he's about, here's what he does, let's go.
Yeah, so I think that the internet tends to be like, oh, you pack too much in, you pack too many characters, so you find out there are 4 characters in a movie and someone's like, whoa, let's not do this.
Yeah, it's like making a smoothie. You can put as many as long as you put the right ingredients in, they're going to taste good at the end.
And it deals with 12, and it does it very, very well. They all have their moments to shine, you understand what they're all about, you understand where they fit into it all, and it's perfect. That's what frustrated me about Daredevil Season 2. You're taking very simple characters with very simple motivations and stretching that information out over hours. And it's like, you don't need to. Even Deadpool's guilty of that for me. Because at the beginning, when he's there and he's in his suit and he's doing the freeway thing, I'm like, great, I've got it.
Yep.
I get it.
Yep, let's go.
And then they start going backwards, and I'm like, no, I've got it. I don't need it.
Yep.
If you're trying to justify it or trying to convince me, I'm already bought in. I don't need to see that. Like, yeah, explain it. Explain that you had cancer and you did the superhero thing. Maybe even do a little flashback but do it quick, you know? Look at how... that's what I loved about Age of Ultron with those little flashbacks. Like Black Widow, you got to see the ballerina thing in the Red Room and all those sorts of stuff, but very quickly. And you went, oh yeah, I got it, dude. And you think, I'd love to see a Black Widow movie, but I don't need an origin. Like, I don't need to see the full thing laid out over a couple of hours. Just give me the Cliff Notes.
Like the concentrated version.
Yeah, and then let's get on with it. Like, let's move forward. So I think it did a really great job with that, especially with Spider-Man. And Black Panther, actually. Both, I mean, have a satisfying... You understand what they're about, why they're there, what they're doing.
Yeah.
Really, really good. So that was really satisfying for me. It's a very funny film at times.
It is. It starts off... The first good 45 minutes to an hour is very dour, and it was starting to feel a little bit, well, when's this going to kind of perk up a bit, you know? Like, I wasn't not enjoying it, but I was waiting for Ant-Man to turn up, I was waiting for Hawkeye to turn up, I was waiting for them because I knew they would inject a little bit more kind of brevity to the movie.
That, I guess it's the second act, is really the best part, which isn't usually the case. But I felt that watching it the second time, as you start to sort of gather the teams, there's this sort of this euphoric feeling where you go, I know we're in for this really great stretch of film here.
Yeah, because, I mean, the first time is very serious, everyone's kind of snipping at each other, and it's not that there's not jokes, it's just they're in that very dry Captain America-y way without any, you know, like they're smirky jokes, they're not laughy jokes.
I love how characters that we've only seen relatively briefly before, like Vision, someone who comes in very late in Age of Ultron and still makes an impression, feels like he's part of everything now. Like, it starts up and when you see him, you're just like, yeah, he feels like he's at home. And I think this has done such a good job at universe building and bringing all those characters in. And it means that Cap, Iron Man and Black Widow particularly are really the elder statesmen of all this. It almost felt like they were in more of a sort of elevated role to everybody else, whereas you got to see the new, younger, playing around people. So I kind of like that. I mean, I'm a big Black Widow fan, obviously, and I'll talk about her role in a ScarJo Agogo, I guess, later in the year. But yeah, it was like a more mature, sort of grown-up Black Widow. They didn't play off the sexiness as much, you know, in their costuming and things like that. And
They didn't in Winter Soldier either.
Oh, yeah, they did.
In the catsuit.
Yeah. Look at her poses and stuff, like when he comes in and she's bent over the documents and stuff like that, which became it's there on my desk in a frame.
Yes, it is.
They played around with all that sort of stuff.
But then is that not a character thing for her? Like, if someone's busting into the room, if she was in that kind of pose, would that not disorient someone for her to kind of charm her way out of the situation?
I'm not criticizing it or anything. I just think it's a step up. Like, I think you know, they've become the upper management and the decision makers and the ones that have that sort of bigger influence over everything. They're the like core characters. They're the top tier. And I think it's great for her because she wasn't... go back at Avengers, she's bottom tier. It's like not an important character, and they've really made her an important character.
Because she costs a lot more now, Luke.
They even changed her fighting style a fair bit, I thought, in terms of... she's still doing all the leg stuff and everything, but it's really sort of going in there and punching and being far more capable. Yeah. It's good.
As I said on the drive on the way home, if you're giving me a movie with Chris Evans, Sebastian Stan, and Jeremy Renner and Anthony Mackie and all of that, I'm not really looking at Scarlett Johansson as closely as you are. I'm sure I'll notice that stuff on my second viewing, though.
Oh, I kind of noticed everybody.
Yeah.
Whenever someone's head is giant on a screen in front of me, I tend to take it in. Yeah. No, and they were all great. It's such a great cast. You know, I really had that sort of geek fan moment when, the camera's panning across and I'm going, there's Black Widow standing next to Spider-Man and on one side and Iron Man on the other side. Like, I'm seeing all of these characters in the same frame, and that's pretty amazing. Like, that everything is sort of coming together now.
Yeah, well, hopefully Sony will let Marvel keep Spider-Man for a long time, or maybe just give him over. That'd be nice.
Oh, well, the next film's next year, so we know it's still
yeah, but like long term.
I would say so. I mean, what else are they... I think that's the deal.
Well, you would hope so.
I would hope that Marvel have said... have made sure it's not just this one or the next one, and that they've got a few up their sleeve. It'd be sucky to sort of make him popular again, and then...
And go, well, we're going to have him back now, and then fuck him up again.
And then lose... No, I'd say their Disney lawyers are probably a bit sharper than that. I'm just hoping that Fox will go, well, we can't reboot Fantastic Four a third time. We better come and join this party as well, because I think that's the only way you're going to see those characters in a light that's going to make them remotely relevant again. Because otherwise, if Fox don't do that, they're going to have to make another movie again within 4 years or something, because that's what they're...
And then just have it bomb again and bomb again and bomb again.
Yeah.
It's a lot of money to invest in a franchise that is not making you any money.
And just especially when you saw how Spider-Man had sort of run itself into a hole and then is able to come back and have people really excited about that character, and people that didn't even like the character much to begin with are going, oh, this is cool. Gives hope for whatever. This is the same with, there are people that would have been like, oh, Daredevil, because they only knew of the Affleck film. And then Marvel goes, well, actually, we can kind of
we might be able to do something with that.
Do it like this. So, that's all fun and games.
Yeah, so obviously we can't say a lot about it, really, but it was good, it's fun. The characters are probably some of the best versions of those characters that we have seen so far. And we're talking about characters that have been in things a little bit. Like, this is a good Mackie, maybe not quite as... He had a bit more to do in Winter Soldier.
Oh, yeah, he was pretty I think Mackie shines in this.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. He's good. There's a surprising kind of budding bromance happening there that I wasn't really expecting. And obviously there's much more Winter Soldier in this. Vision had some interesting stuff to do. I know a lot of people were really quite tickled by his little sweater vest, and I wasn't quite as much.
Oh, and I think...
I know everyone's just like, oh, it's really fun and silly, and I'm like, oh, okay. I liked it much better when he was just in Vision mode, but that's just me.
We get both, though.
We do get both, thank God, because if he walked around that fucking T-shirt the whole time, I was like, okay.
He got... When we saw it at the opening, there were lots of laughs all the way through. But the audience yesterday was quite big, but a lot quieter. And Vision really was the first one to get everybody laughing. It was almost like just his presence, like just his energy gets people laughing.
It's because he's wearing a collared shirt. Yeah. And he's a big pink guy.
Yeah.
He was great. Much, much better Scarlet Witch in this. She had a lot more to do, a lot more kind of... angsty stuff, dare we say. But she was very good.
I thoroughly recommend it. I'll be surprised if this doesn't rule the box office until Star Wars. And I guess we're just going to wait and see what America thinks, because they can really surprise me. I thought Ultron was pretty cool, and then people had all these weird complaints about it once it hit America. So it'll be interesting to see, although... considering we've been arguing with a lot of our friends about Batman, Superman for the last month or two, everybody seems pretty universally happy over here that this is a good film, and everybody seemed to really get a kick out of it. So
even people that I thought might be a bit contrarian have also enjoyed it.
Might get a bit grumpy, but everybody's been very positive. Yeah. So I think it certainly does the job.
I think it has... I'm one of those. I enjoyed Age of Ultron the first time. The subsequent viewings cooled me off a little bit, but I think this is better than Age of Ultron.
Yeah, someone who I hold very dear said, oh, look, it's not a game changer. But then I'm thinking, you're not going to get a game changer. When have we had a game changer in terms of superhero stories, even in comics? I mean, Watchmen was a game changer.
Do you mean the book game changer all over? Because Winter Soldier was a game changer for that universe.
I don't know. I just think no one's going to... If we go in and expect these films to change our lives and reinvent the genre or do anything like that, it's going to be very rare that happens.
You want to get... It's a superhero. You want to go in and you want it to make you feel good.
Yeah, and it's going to follow certain tropes and things. I think that's just unavoidable.
Yeah, the one thing that... I mean, I didn't get heaps and heaps of feels out of this. And, the one thing that I was thinking really would have pushed it over the edge for me, and there was a few moments where I thought it might have happened, is that big, and I know it's a Captain America movie, not an Avengers movie, though it could quite easily be an Avengers movie, that big kind of Avengers theme kicking in at some point that just sort of makes you go, oh yeah. And I know that it's not them defeating a baddie, so maybe doesn't justify that big swelling orchestral theme song, but even the airport fight, that would have been fun to kind of have that music playing over that, and just at those key moments, I think the score was maybe lacking a little bit compared to previous movies.
It's got some... I was more aware of it the second time. It's got some... I don't know, I feel like score, you need some time to settle. I gotta say, even with Star Wars, with Force Awakens, I didn't pick up on the score for a while, really those themes, and... I even listened to the soundtrack a couple of times after seeing the film and was like, oh, there's no real sort of hooks compared to other stuff. But now I've seen it so much. Yeah, like the Daisy theme, the Kylo theme, I'm really aware of that. But it took me a while. I think Black Panther's got a cool, there is this jungle thing that comes through a lot of the time. There's a... I can't be specific about the fight, but there's this sort of heroic Captain America sting that happens at one point, which I was really aware of the first time and definitely hit me again in the exact same spot the second time. So, yeah, I don't know, I'd like to listen to it in isolation and sort of get a sense of it.
It was a much more low-key compared to something like even Iron Man 3. I think that actually had a very strong theme. So Avengers, Iron Man 3, and post that, there just kind of hasn't been that really, I don't know, just iconic song that you can pull from the movie as much.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good. Civil War, good. Many thumbs up. All really of the thumbs up.
I think it's a really good superhero movie, and I think it has one of my favourite superhero fights, if not my favourite superhero fights of all time, because all the combinations of powers and everything, it's just so clever. So, yeah. Doesn't have a very memorable villain like a lot of Marvel movies, but there you go.
I enjoyed him, but mainly because he's an actor that I've really enjoyed stuff from in the past, and he does a fair job. He doesn't have a lot to kind of do. There's not a lot of emoting for him to get done.
Considering who he is, that it's more set up for later.
Yeah.
That we'll get to see him maybe come back. But yeah, I'm just looking forward to Infinity War now, which is supposed to have 60-odd characters. I know Star-Lord's going to be joining and all sorts of things. So
yeah, we've got to get through Ragnarok before then.
We have...
There'll be Guardians 2.
Yep, so what happens is Doctor Strange is in November, and then next year is Guardians 2, then Spider-Man Homecoming, and then the third one is Thor.
Ragnarok will be at the end of the year.
Yeah.
God, I hope they sort their shit out for Ragnarok.
It's Taika.
I know it's Taika, but oh God. Anyway.
All right. Okay, so that's the main sexy body of the show.
No, we've got to do Pokemons.
Oh yeah, God. Yeah. God, yeah. Sorry, because it's on our list in the... I'm not doing very well today. Let's go on. Pokemon me up.
All right. So the trailer came out last year for the Pokemon Go game, which is from the people who made a game called Ingress. You may have played that. It's a GPS-based kind of game where you travel around your location and sort of hack portals and take control of things, and you're on a team and you sort of win things for your team and that kind of thing. So it's made with the same kind of mechanic. It's a mobile game. You walk around in little kind of habitat areas and you find Pokemon, basically. It's only in beta at the moment. I was very, very lucky to get an invitation to play the beta. And it was a bit of a pain in the ass to get going at first because it was obviously getting completely hammered and it was a bit buggy and all that sort of thing. But I have got it going now, and it's quite fun. I would like to know, maybe the things that they are planning on implementing later, because it is a little bit thin in some areas, as far as there's no battling, really. You just walk around, you find Pokemon, you collect them, and you don't level up your Pokemon. You can go to gyms and battle them there, but you're only leveling up the gym and not your actual Pokemon. You do level up yourself in the same way that you do in Ingress. There are things called Pokestops or something, which are a bit like your portals in Ingress, and you go there to get your supplies, Pokeballs and stuff like that. You can't buy them, you have to collect your Pokeballs from resource places around the place. And I think you do have the opportunity to catch all the Pokemon. You don't get your base Pokemon, obviously, and then level them up and then have them evolve as they go. You have to collect multiple versions, multiple individuals of that particular Pokemon. I think I had to catch 4 Caterpies or Caterpies or something to be able to then evolve that into a Metapod or whatever the next one is. I'm not very good with Pokemon names, but I am learning them. I went out yesterday with a friend and we spent about 2 hours down at the South Perth foreshore, just literally walking most of the way up and all the way back, and we did catch quite a few there. There's big kind of sort of general patches of habitat in mostly popular areas. I think it works on, again, the same map as Ingress, so areas where people are a lot, so like shopping centres and popular parks and places like that. They will have bigger areas of habitat for you to be able to walk through and collect Pokemon. There is a little thing on your screen that will tell you what Pokemon are nearby, and at the moment that's only in 50 metre increments and there's no direction. So it's just going, okay, this Pokemon's within 50 metres of you in a big circle, so you don't really know. And that's a little bit at this point, because you just wander around in a big circle and don't know what you're looking for or where you're going. So hopefully that's something they'll fix up later. But yeah, at the moment it is good fun. It's a shame that once it does go live, all of my progress and everything will be wiped and I'll be starting from square one again. But yeah, I look forward to playing it with more people. There's no PvP or anything at this stage. You can't battle your friends' Pokemon. It's only at gyms. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see what it looks like when it actually goes live. I imagine there'll be heaps more features. I don't know how much the appearance is going to change. Like, it's based just on Google Maps, so it's fairly simple. It's just there's a night view, so when it's night obviously it all goes dark, and then a day view as well, and there's just kind of green habitat areas, and there's sort of blocks where the houses and the shopping centres and stuff are.
I only had a very brief walk around with you before we started recording, and yeah, at the moment for me, and I've only seen a little bit of it, it does feel like a reskinned Ingress.
Yes.
Where instead of a portal you're basically collecting pictures of Pokemon. So I feel it does need that ownership sort of thing. Like, you need to be able to name your Pokemon and train it and fight it.
Yeah,
like,
you can't name them at the moment.
Because naming, training, fighting
it's the point.
That's Pokemon,
yeah.
And it needs that as well.
Yeah, and there's a point where obviously you're going to collect all the Pokemon, and then where do you go from there?
So there's no release date yet, is there?
I don't think so, no.
It does feel like it's not close. Because there's not a huge amount of content yet. Yeah,
I think they've been demoing in Japan for a while. When the app first opens up, it's all in Japanese, and I was like, oh, fuck, have I downloaded the wrong thing? But no, it switches over to English. It rolled out on, I don't know, Wednesday or Thursday here, so I haven't had it for very long, and it's had a couple of updates already. So, we'll see how it goes. I'll, if anyone's particularly interested, I can keep people a little bit updated, but yeah, I mean, at this point, it's what I expected. It's not, like, earth-shattering. It is good fun. It is going to be quite a social game, I think. It really does encourage you to get out and really interact with the environment. Something like Ingress, and obviously I didn't do this because it's unsafe and you shouldn't, but you could drive past portals and just ping them while you're driving. This, you can't. Like, you have to be in a location to be able to fight those Pokemon and to be able to collect resources from the Pokestop. So it'll be interesting. I think it'll be a kind of a fun family thing. Take the kids out down to the park and walk around and find Pokemon, which I don't imagine kids would be that quite as intrigued by Ingress, where they're not really catching things.
That's true. We got to confuse the shit out of Suzanne because you texted me as you pulled up and said there's a rat thing in your garden. Do you want to catch it? And I was like, yeah. So I came down and said, I yelled to Suzanne, there's a Pokemon on our lawn. I got to catch it. And went out there. And then when she came out, we were wandering around looking at your phone. She She was like, what are you doing? And he was, we're catching all the
We're catching Pokemon. What do you mean? Yeah.
It was a rat thing.
Yeah, so yes, good. Could be better, but it's just the beta, so, again, it's probably going to change heaps before it goes live anyway.
Yeah, it feels very early.
Yep.
Okay, now that's going to be our show if you don't want any spoilers for Game of Thrones or you're not interested in Game of Thrones or Downton Abbey. So...
What is wrong with you if you say no to either of those?
If that's you, if you think we haven't done a very good showing today, then look, just get out. Get the fuck out now while you can. Thank you for listening. Book Was Better Tomorrow is Universal Soldier with Paris. That's going to be a lot of fun. And please go to fruitlesspursuits.com where you can reviewers rate. We can't reviewers rate there, but you can find links to places where you can, like iTunes and stuff.
Yeah, you can go and do that on iTunes.
Patreon, Facebook, all sorts of stuff. So, yeah, do that.
Yeah, do that.
Do that, damn ya.
God damn it.
All right. So thanks for that. And then we are about to do spoilers for Game of Thrones episode 1 of series, what is it, 6?
6, yes.
6, yes. So if you haven't seen it, you don't want to be spoiled, get out now because spoilers start in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And Jon Snow is still dead.
Still dead at the moment.
At the moment.
Yeah.
This is the problem with Game of Thrones. You get so excited about it coming back, and I enjoyed watching it, but you realise, of course, that with all these characters, you are going to get 5 minutes of each one.
Yeah.
So if it takes 25 minutes to resurrect Jon Snow...
you're not going to get that until, the end of the season.
It's going to be 5 weeks. Everything is so incremental, which, when you're watching it as a whole season... Doesn't matter, it's great.
Yeah.
But when you're waiting week to week, it can be pretty
and it's
stressful.
It's always the problem with the first episode back that they do a previously on Game of Thrones thing at the start of the episode, but still you're just being reintroduced to where these characters are and what's going on with them. You're not pushing forward a significant amount for anybody. Nothing
big is going to happen. So, yeah, Jon Snow, his body is lying in a room with Davos.
Davos?
Davos?
Yes. Sexy Badger Davos?
Yeah, so that's all happening. And really, that storyline at the wall was the only thing that gave us much of a step forward or something that we hadn't really seen before. Because, of course, the exciting thing about this season is we're in uncharted territory. We're beyond the books. But we did get to see something with the Red Woman.
We did, yeah. It was funny. I was watching it, and she took her clothes off, and I'm like, oh, here we go, Game of Thrones. End of the episode. I suppose you had to get some boobies in there somewhere. Yeah. And then the ante was upped, and I was like, oh shit, okay.
Yeah, she took off her necklace and became an old naked woman instead.
Yes. Though, obviously, yes, watching that, I assumed that it was that choker that was somehow shielding her or transforming her or something. But people have put up screenshots from previous episodes where she doesn't have it on and she is still looking normal. So obviously it's a conscious transformation that she can make, or whether it's something that she kind of projects onto other people that they can see her in that way.
Well, she has sex with a lot of people though as well. You'd think it would be more than a projection, unless she's messing with their minds and they're thinking, I can't see any bingo wings, but there's something
I can feel them. They're
flapping against me constantly.
Yeah, well, I guess there's another, because wasn't Stannis' wife was all like, fuck yeah, hang out with this chick, it's all good. And maybe she could see her as the crazy old crone, and everybody else is seeing her as sexy banging Melisandre.
Could be. Could be. It was funny because I was watching Downton Abbey, of course, as well, and I just kept thinking, I really hope Maggie Smith puts on a necklace and turns into a hot naked woman at some point. Just does a reverse Red Woman.
Yeah, and Sir Richard's left the castle and he's wandering across the glens with Dario Naharis.
Yes. So Daenerys has kind of gone full circle, hasn't she?
Yeah, she's back with the Carls.
With the Dothraki. And that shows you how the seasons have changed, though. When they're threatening to strip her naked. Season 1, we would have had that question answered about speculating on her hair. Mm-hmm. But I was like, there's no way. Not now.
No.
Like, she's been so coy in the recent seasons. Like, she's been having sex with a sheet wrapped around her, under her armpits. It's like, she's got a better contract now.
She is much more valuable now.
She's not going to be getting naked. It's always the poor old extras that get naked.
Yep.
So that didn't happen. So she's kind of gone full circle. Every time you think, oh, Daenerys is really going to do something now, nope.
And then they're like, and she's like, I am the wife of Khal Drogo. And they're like, oh, okay, you get to go to wife prison. And she's like, whoa, hang on.
We don't know what that looks like, though. It could be kind of cool. I thought really good job of Jorah for finding an earring in a few 100 square kilometres of grassland. Yes,
the 90 seconds that he was on camera was very, very Sherlockian.
Yes.
Yes, well done to him.
I think he could...
And looking at his wrist kind of, sadly...
Which he did in the previously on.
Yeah.
So,
he's just doing the same thing again.
How many times can he look at his arm and be sad that he has not done anything about it yet?
Yeah.
I think he must have been able to smell her on it. I think he really knows her smells by now, so...
Yes.
Maybe that...
If anybody knows how Daenerys smells, it would be Jorah.
Definitely that guy. So there was that. Sansa finally hooked up with Brienne.
Yes, that scene I was actually going, oh fuck, because I'd forgotten where Brienne was, what she was doing, and then they find Sansa and the dogs are there, and I'm like, oh, Sansa's a bit fucked, what's going to happen now? And then Brienne rides in like a hero. I was like, oh yeah, I forgot you were there. Yeah,
so she saves the day, and it's funny, it shows you how... For me, in a way, some of this stuff has lost its impact. Like, I remember there were times in previous series where the Starks were so close to friendly people, like other Starks or whatever, and I was like, oh god, come on, do it. And now Sansa's actually in safe hands, finally. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's just because I'm wanting more stuff.
Yeah, I think once the bar gets raised and raised and raised, you want something crazier and crazier every time. I'm finding that even though the Dornish section probably had one of the biggest whoa shit moments in the episode, I'm not into them.
No, because I don't see them as they arrive too late to the party. We don't know them as well. And
we're not really that invested in these characters they're killing off.
And there's a few women... And I think you're not really at this point, not because you're women, but just because there's only a few of you. You're not like the Lannisters and stuff.
Yeah.
I know they've got all their guards and stuff, I suppose. I don't know how big their army is, but I just don't feel like they're contenders based on what we've seen. Like, I feel like they're more of a diversion. I can't, in my mind, see. And I'm sure we could all be proven wrong, but... How are they going to make an impact? How are they going to have any bearing? It feels like they're just going to be a distraction. So I don't know about that. What I thought was interesting is... Okay, so... what's her name? The child that died?
Marcella?
Yeah.
Marcella.
Something like that.
Yeah.
She's died.
Yeah.
We see Cersei, who's got just an absolute fabulous pixie cut. Like, she just looks amazing. She's touching the back of her neck. She's like, this is really great. Then she goes down to the harbour.
Yeah.
And this boat comes in with Jamie
on the front. And a coffin.
And Jamie's on the front. And he's just looking at her. He's just like staring kind of intently. He looks pretty grim. She is waiting for him, obviously, because he's her brother and lover.
Yes.
He's waiting for him to say something about her top-notch pixie cut. And he doesn't, so she just breaks down.
Yeah.
She just starts crying. Why didn't he say anything about my hair?
I know.
So she's there crying because she knows.
Fucking unobservant men.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
What was that?
Oh, that was your bloody popcorn bucket.
It's my popcorn bucket.
Jesus.
It's just full of
Lego. There we go.
Whew, that was close. I wondered where Bronn was, but then I thought, if you're going to break that kind of news, you probably don't want to bring Bronn along with you, do you?
Yeah, well, Bronn would have been on the boat, surely. He would have had to have been, but they're not going to...
Not going to go, Bronn, come with me while I break this news to Cersei.
Yeah.
Make some of your classic Bronn comments while I explain
lighten the mood.
The death of your daughter. So, yeah, I guess Bronn just snuck back to shore riding a dolphin or something. We didn't get to see it. But yeah, so there was that. Was there really anything else? I mean, like I said, it's baby steps at the moment.
Yeah, it is. It's all all about Jon Snow and what they're going to do there. I guess the assumption is Melisandre's going to resurrect him.
Resurrection. Erection.
Yeah, and Khaleesi is going to get taken somewhere by the horse people. Sansa's going to get taken somewhere by Brienne. And yeah, it's all just, well, we're going to start our journeys again and let's see what happens. It's like, okay.
Well, we won't have to wait long because we'll get to see it tomorrow.
Yeah.
But, the same day this airs, we'll be watching the second episode. So yeah, look, I'm very invested. I know there were people that kind of cooled off last season. That seemed to come up a lot on the internet, but I love the show. I'm always going to watch it.
Yeah,
so.
And you know that Game of Thrones is back when there's a million articles on news websites about how Australians are the biggest pirates of Game of Thrones in the entire world.
Well, we are convicts.
Yes, number one.
Yeah.
Yeah, though there's been an equal amount of rebuttal articles that say, well, if you give us reasonable avenues to watch it for money, then we will, but you don't, so we're going to steal it from you.
Always buy the Blu-rays.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what a lot of people are saying. They say, well, I'll buy the Blu-rays at the end, but, like, I'm not going to pay, up to $100 a month to get fucking pay TV for this one show that I want to watch for, like, 12 weeks of the year.
Yeah.
Which is pretty valid, I think.
Well, it's very difficult to just wait either because the internet talks about everything.
Absolutely. And people are going, well, it's not your right to watch Game of Thrones, you don't have to watch it. It's like, well, no, but we are a global community of people connecting over media and to deny someone, that's like water cooler talk at work gone.
Yeah.
That's like, chatting with your friends. You got to be that guy that says, oh, don't spoil me for like 3 months.
That said, we're not pirates and we don't condone piracy.
No,
so
absolutely not. We definitely pay our $100 a month to watch it on Foxtel. Sure, we do.
Hey, we got HBO Go.
Yes. Technically, I don't think we're supposed to have that either.
Well, look, we've got to have something, right?
Well, yes. Geo-blocking for the win. Yay.
Alright, but that was fucking Game of Thrones.
Yeah, there's not heaps to talk about, really.
Let's not milk it if that cow's a little bit dry.
Well, they were a bit dry at the end of that episode.
Yeah.
Dry and close to the floor.
They were some hanging udders. So, Downton Abbey.
Yes.
We're going to spoiler talk about Downton Abbey.
Okay, we're only going to spoil the talk up to the end of season 5, because I don't want you to tell me anything that happened in season 6.
No, that's you making the very bold assumption that anything even happens in season 6.
Shush. I actually like season 5 more than season 4, because they resolved some storylines, which they did not do in season 4. Nothing was resolved.
Well, this was the problem, right? That season 3, the contracts run out. So, spoilers, remember, big spoilers now. So, Matthew dies.
Yes.
Dan Stevens. And he dies in the most tacked-on way. Like, he's killed in a car crash after the birth, and they really could have filmed the car crash separately and then just gone, Dan Stevens, come in for an afternoon and lay under this bit of metal.
It's kind of one of those things that you wonder if the rest of the cast even really knew. Like, they'd shot the whole episode and then the contract didn't happen and they just went, oh, we'll just come in and just film this thing for a day.
And it's incredibly unfulfilling because if you look at his character journey and everything that he's been through and everything we've earned with Mary and him, and it's not earned. It doesn't have any dramatic reason to happen.
Well, they make that comment in season 4. They go, after everything Matthew's been through, it's ridiculous that he dies in a car crash.
Yeah, but that's a stab at him, right? They make, just like they stab at, who was the evil housekeeper person that got...
Oh, O'Brien.
Yeah, so she left as well. She's decided, no, I'm not coming back. So I can see it through. Like, if bloody Emma Watson can see through all the Harry Potters and all that sort of stuff, if John Hamm can see through Mad Men, Gandolfini, like, see it through Dan Stevens. When stars in his eyes, chasing Hollywood dreams, going over the pond, as they say.
Yeah, I think that a couple of them were getting a little bit big for their boots. I was reading about, because obviously Jessica Brown-Findlay, who played Sybil, left as well, and I was reading her comments about leaving, and she just said, well, I just didn't want to get too stagnant in my career, and I thought it was time to leave. I'm like, she was like 22 and she'd only done 3 seasons of a fucking TV show. Like, just stick with it a bit longer, mate.
3 seasons in America is quitting. Like, it's nothing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
if
they're not
got,
long seasons either.
And look, if you've got the chops, if people think that you're the standout and they want to use you, they will work around you. We've seen that happen. Like, Back to the Future fucking worked around family ties. They were beholden to family tie schedule so that they could have Michael J. Fox because they wanted him. So if people want Jessica Brown Finlay, they will find a way to make it work.
Yeah, and it's quite. I was looking through her IMDb to see, well, what did you do after you left Downton, Jessica Brown Finlay? And the answer is not much. She did do Winter's Tale, which I like, but it's a shitty movie, and everything else has just been like nothing. Like, to be honest, Dan Stevens has done much better than her, but mainly because he got Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah, he's not a household name, yeah.
No.
So...
And the awful, like, with Dan Stevens, when he left, I thought that he just left. Like, he decided that was enough and he was going. No. He left because he wanted to do The Guest, which I like The Guest, but The Guest is not a movie that you leave your very successful TV franchise to go and do because you're getting paid, like, a couple of packets of sugar and a can of Coke to do The Guest.
Yeah.
And it was just an insane decision. And there's no way that...
You get the packets of sugar because you're working in America and they don't have sugar in their Coke. And if you're in England, you're used to real sugar in your Coke.
Absolutely.
So you've got to add it.
Yes. And I don't think, like, him doing The Guest would not have, catapulted his career. Like, I think he still would have got Beauty and the Beast if he just stayed on Downton Abbey.
Yeah, just do Downton Abbey because then when it finishes, everyone goes, oh, we really love that thing. Now that person's available, let's do some stuff. But don't jump the gun.
And I mean, what is it, like 12 episodes of Downton Abbey?
Yeah.
Like, that's not going to take up your whole year.
So that sucked. And in a way, the perfect way to watch Downton Abbey is to watch the 3 seasons and after she has the baby, stop it before the car crash.
Yep.
And that's it. They got together, everything was fine. Future hope for the house.
Yep, they have an heir.
The end. But instead, season 4 happens. In season 4, the main thing, like season 2 was the war, season 4 is an event that happens to Mary's housemaid.
Her lady's maid, Anna.
Her lady's maid, Anna. Yeah. Now, I know apparently, I looked into this, there were a lot of, this was very controversial.
Yes, I watched an interview from around that time with the lady who plays Anna, and she had the guy who plays Thomas with her as well, and the guy sort of said, well, a lot of people have been saying that this is something that probably shouldn't happen in Downton. Like, this is a bit dark for what Downton really is, and I absolutely agree. Like, I understand what they wanted to do with it, but I just don't think it was that appropriate for the show.
Yeah, like, I'm not so crazy about things like trigger warnings and stuff like that because I think that we need to educate ourselves and be responsible for what we're sensitive to. Like, not expect other people to be responsible for our sensitivities because we're all very different. We all have different anxieties or things like that, or we've all got horrible things that have happened to us, and we need to manage that. We can't expect other people to manage it for us. Just like parents should be responsible for what their kids do and see. They did put a warning, apparently, in front of this episode when it aired.
Okay.
And I think that's fair enough, because if you're watching Downton Abbey and you've watched 3 seasons of Downton Abbey, you don't expect a season to really revolve around a rape.
Yes, and it was quite a nasty rape of a character that you love. Like, it is a character you are very invested in.
Killed that character from that moment, because she was always so lovely, and then...
Lovely and strong and caring, and then they just took all that away from her.
And then she just became this wreck. Now, it happens off screen, but it's still really nasty how it's shown and how it's implied. It's a disturbing sequence. It's also really... I think it's just really questionable how it all goes down, because the way it's shown is Mr. Bates, her partner, he's actually been quite controlling and unreasonable the way it's portrayed at the beginning of that episode. Because the guy that rapes her is a footman who's at a big party at the house, and he's like, joking and stuff, but she's having fun with him.
Yeah.
And everybody's having fun, and they're doing stuff, and they're getting a bit boisterous, but she's really enjoying his company. They're getting along. And Bates is being the killjoy. He's being the controlling. You can't do this.
Yeah, he's just being jealous, and he thinks it's inappropriate and that sort of thing.
Which is not cool. Like, really...
Like, she's proved to be on his side.
Really,
Like,
she should be justified to be able to let her hair down and have this fun and not worry about. And then this bad thing happens, which I feel like almost justifies Bates's behaviour. Like this idea of, well, you shouldn't have done that. Whereas I think she should have. You know, I think it's actually kind of a cruel twist when you realise that that's going to happen, because I didn't see it happening with that guy, you know. And I guess, look, that's the thing. We're going to talk about life and what life throws at you and stuff. We've just talked about this car crash that happens out of the blue. Sure. In real life, that's what happens. Yeah. There's no dramatic, you know. And I guess in real life, these other horrible things happen as well. But it became such a sticking point for that series.
Yeah.
And about her keeping this secret, and it just went on, and what will happen if Bates finds out, and then Bates found out. And then season 4 really amazed me that it kept mining this thing. Like, then it becomes about the...
Season 5.
Season
4 is where it happens.
Season 5, sorry, keeps mining this thing about, oh, well, who killed the rapist, you know? And then she gets arrested, which was this reverse of what happens with Bates getting arrested before. And then, like, he goes on the run, and then it all comes down to not any, like, one solves it or figures it out or anything.
Yeah,
it becomes,
just kind of happens.
Someone confessed. It's okay, you're free now.
Yeah, I did watch the first episode of season 6, and it was quite funny that they make the comment of, well, that's all over. That was a long time coming. And I'm like, yeah, it fucking was.
I mean, there's lots of other stuff happening in the series as well, and it's still very enjoyable because of all the characters. But that storyline, holy crap. Like,
yeah, season 4 was very much under the shadow of that storyline for it to be the main storyline of the whole season. There wasn't a lot of kind of lighter stuff to really... And I mean, everyone's, you know, suffering under the shadow of... Matthew's death. Like, obviously Mary's grieving, his mother is grieving, and, you know, everyone's kind of just having to cope with that. So it's, you know, Matthew's dead and someone got raped. Like, that's not a nice grounding for a fluffy soap kind of season.
And I got so angry at Dan Stevens as it progressed, continue to get angry, because you think, and hopefully someone like Michelle Dockery, who plays Mary, is angry as well, because you're thinking, you've just not just fucked up our stories, but you fucked up my character. Now I have to be in mourning and be a bitch to everybody for like 2 episodes or whatever, because, you know, I'm miserable about everything, and now I have to be all distant and aloof and not doing the things that I want to be doing.
And I think it is really a shame, because I think for both of those characters, I think the kind of Mary plus Matthew unit was better than either of those characters by themselves. And to take him away, it really takes away a lot of what Mary had built up over those 3 seasons. And she's just kind of pulled back to that first couple of episodes, Mary, where she's awful to everybody. Yeah,
she became a bit of a shrew, but I do still love her. She's still my favourite. And
she's
got some classic just shutting down Edith moments.
Oh, she is such a fucking bitch to Edith all the time. And like, they were going out to lunch or something. She was going out to lunch with Branson and Rose, and she was like, oh, I guess you can come, Edith. And Edith's sitting right there, and they're talking about making lunch plans, and Edith's just like, oh. And then when fucking Gregson dies, and Mary's just like, fucking get over it, Edith. And Edith's like, oh. And I'm like, your husband died like a season ago.
Have you seen the one? I don't think it's a spoiler if you haven't, but I think you have, where it's something like Tom saying he's going to go.
Oh, and then she's going to be, I'm just going to be stuck here with Edith?
Yeah, and then she's like, oh, I see that you'll be missing him too. And she's like, no, I just don't want to be stuck here with you. Such a bitch.
Oh, and the other thing, like, you know, they've got rid of Sybil, they've got rid of Matthew, so they're trying to pin more storylines on Edith, and it's like, that is the wrong horse to be backing.
Yeah.
Like, no one gives a shit about Edith.
And horse is a very carefully chosen term when talking about Edith as well. Well, yeah, there's some journeys. I've got to be careful because it all ran together a bit, but...
Yeah, and there's the bit... the prime... Mary hates Edith moment that really made me laugh is everybody has worked out that kid is Edith. Every fucking person in that place. Like Tom, like Branson knows it, the dad works it out, the mum gets told, but, you know, everybody works it out, except for Mary, because she has such a deep disinterest in anything to do with Edith that she fucking probably doesn't even realise that kid exists.
Yeah.
And she's so up her own ass that she's just like, whatever, I don't even care. Even if the kid is Edith's, I don't give a shit about it.
Oh God, we had so many characters continuing to threaten to resign. And
oh yeah, I love the one where Sprat goes to resign and like Lady Crawley's just like, oh, fuck you. And he's like, oh, okay. She's like, he's not going to resign. He's just going to stay here.
There are so many. Daisy wants to resign all the time.
Oh, yes, the season 5 theme, Daisy learns maths. That was the...
But no, look, to lighten the mood, my favourite moment of all in Downton Abbey has been, and it happens over a couple of episodes, is Mary has her, gets her fuck on for a week with that dude.
Tony.
So they go off to have a
week sex
of
holiday.
sin. They're just going to have sex for a week.
Yeah.
They're not married, but it's to see if they're a right fit in the vagina, basically. So she doesn't want to get pregnant.
Obviously, because that would be such a scandal.
Yeah, because she wants to know what his dick's like.
Yeah.
So everybody has been getting pregnant.
Because remember, Mary has the most irresistible vagina in Yorkshire.
It just lures everybody.
Yeah.
It really does.
Yeah, because in season 5, she has like 3 potential suitors. One fucks off pretty quickly and you don't kind of see him again. But yeah, she's got these 2 dudes that are like, you know, a matter of months. No, it would be season 4, because a matter of months after Matthew dies, like obviously the pheromones have started to leach out again and all the men start sniffing.
So she doesn't want to get pregnant, but she doesn't want to go and buy what is necessary to not get pregnant.
Because someone might see her.
So she sends poor married Anna, the rape victim, down to the pharmacist to get an ingenious device, which
they never name.
Found about in this book.
Yeah.
And we know it's not any sort of prophylactic because it's just one thing.
Yes.
And I'm pretty sure you get to see a glimpse of it in the book. Which is, and you can see a circular drawing.
Yeah,
we assume it's a diaphragm. So she goes and gets the diaphragm and gives it to Mary, and Mary goes off and gets a fuck on for a week. Mary comes back with a paper bag, which is holding her used diaphragm. Now, these guys don't do any cleaning or anything like that. I can't imagine Mary was at the kitchen sink washing this diaphragm or anything. So this thing is just, she's probably just like... held the bag between her legs and just popped it into there.
Yeah.
Wrapped it up, and she's gone, Anna, I don't want anyone finding this. You need to take this home to your cottage and hide it in a cupboard somewhere. Because now look, Mary's pretty wealthy.
Yes.
If she needed another diaphragm,
probably buy
it. But she doesn't.
For safekeeping.
She's like, I might need that one again. I might want to just pop it straight back in.
Dusty old diaphragm.
So she gives it to Anna, who's a bit like, oh Christ, I've just been given this used diaphragm. But she takes it home. And that's all you hear about it for a little while until, of course, we know what's going to happen. Her husband, Mr. Bates, ends up finding the diaphragm. Now, the only thing that would... And she, you know, there's a bit of a misunderstanding, but eventually...
Yeah, he thinks that she doesn't want to have his kids.
Yeah, because they've been wanting kids, and it has happened. Anyway, what I thought was a real missed opportunity, if I was writing the season... there was the Jewish family that they had that Rose, Lily Collins, was marries into. And the Jewish father was very Jewish and very strict about it all. And I thought, what better opportunity than Bates to find the diaphragm and go, oh, how thoughtful.
A little yarmulke.
They know the Jewish family is here. I'm going to make a good impression by wearing this on my head at dinner. So he comes down to, imagine he comes up to dinner.
Yeah.
He's got the diaphragm on his head. Isis the dog is just going nuts. It's just barking and leaping up and sort of sniffing, and everybody's...
I don't think Isis was still around at that point.
Oh, well,
but
I just thought that would have been such an opportunity.
Yeah.
Comedy of errors, comedy of manners.
But imagine, having that little used diaphragm in a bag. Does that still have irresistible vagina essence on it?
I think so.
Surely just young suitors would just come knocking at the house, not knowing why they're there. They're just drawn to it.
It's drawn to the cupboards.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. God. So if Loot Crate or someone ever does a
Downton
Abbey theme, why not put in a little brown paper bag with Lady Mary's diaphragm, little Downton Abbey from, you
from
put
the
it
downtown,
down from the downtown area.
Yes.
Little Downton Abbey logo on it.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Very nice. The little house. I liked that teacher that Branson was wanting to get his
Sarah
dick on.
Bunting.
Yes.
She was adorable.
She was awful. I hated her.
I had a crush on her.
Yeah, I know you probably did. I fucking hated her because, like...
She was gorgeous.
No, she was the worst. Because, like, okay, so she comes to the house. She has a bit of a blow-up with everyone, basically. And she keeps getting invited back by Rose because Rose is a delightful creature who thinks everybody should get on and, let's give her another chance, let's give her another chance. Like, if I went to someone's house and had a really big argument with them and it was clear that we did not share views, I probably wouldn't go back.
No, but she was with Tom, though. What if it was with the man that she loved?
Yeah, but they could go off and do other things. Like, she was just coming in to fucking wind
There's only
everybody
one
up.
diaphragm, and we know where it was.
And he's, like, Catholic, so he's not going to use it. Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I thought Sarah Bunting was lovely.
No, she was fucking awful, and I'm glad that he fucked her off. I was worried that he was going to, because he goes to see her before she leaves or something, and that he was going to drag her back. And I'm like, no, Tom, you let her go, mate.
I'm sure our listeners are finding it very sad that we're far more animated and invested in this than Game of Thrones at the moment. But there you go.
Yeah, but things are happening in Downton Abbey.
I don't think I can really elaborate on anything much more than Lady Mary's diaphragm, but I do think then that I thought this might be the final talk, but I think we do have to have a talk when you've finished.
Yeah.
Because there's a few things I want to talk about with that last season.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. I'll have finished that by the time we record next week, so we can do that then.
You've started it, haven't you?
I've watched the first episode. I just wanted to make sure that, because in the Christmas episode, obviously Branson leaves and takes little Sibby off to Boston, and I just wanted to watch that first episode just to make sure that he had gone, and it wasn't one of those, 6 months have passed, we went to Boston, didn't work out, look, we're back.
Yes.
So... I imagine, and don't tell me either way, but I imagine that he will crop back up in the final season at some point.
Maybe. All right, God, I've had enough. Let's get the fuck out of here.
Oh, God.
If anyone made it this far, you are a true champion. Though, I kind of felt guilty. I knew we were going to talk about Downton again, but I kind of thought that on our Facebook page or something that someone was going to go, "Oh, Downton, I love Downton. I'm so stoked you guys are talking about it." I don't think anybody mentioned it.
No, it doesn't matter though.
No,
we're still going to talk about it.
Yeah.
I mean, look, we put it at the end. You can stop listening anytime you want.
It's a low-stakes world. All right.
Yeah, that's it. We haven't got any plans for next week, I don't think.
No, odd one. No big movies or anything. We'll have more Game of Thrones. I'm sure something will come up.
Yeah, Game of Thrones and Downton Abbey. Look forward to next week. Goodbye.
Bye.